touch. When we think of the word touch, we can, really think sort of in many different ways. We think on the emotional side of being touched or moved by something. We can think very literally of the physical, motion of touching. Today we're going to hear from someone very special who kindly has volunteered his time to speak to us, hopefully, I think, touching on both of those aspects of the word touch. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Merrick Ho, who is the Financial Secretary of the Hong Kong Blind Union. He is also on the executive committee, and he'll be talking to us about his personal experience with this word touch. Please welcome Merrick Ho.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks for the introduction, and really happy to be invited to today's session. So I will just introduce a bit about Hong Kong Blind Union. In fact, we are a self-help organization. This is a very special characteristic of our organization, which is all of our board members, including myself, we are all visually impaired. And of course, we have a lot of support from our professional staff members. Today, I have Ivy and Judy who are with me. They are specialized in PR and communications. So thanks for their support today. So for Hong Kong Blind Union, we were formed in 1964, and the self-help organization in Hong Kong with the longest history. And our mission are 3 words: equality, independence, and opportunity. So they are all in the end goal of the visually impaired community. So we are an organization of the blind rather than an organization just simply for the blind. So some background about myself. I'm the financial secretary of the executive committee of the organization. So apart from managing the accounts, of course, we have professional internal accountants with us. But I do handle the strategic planning for the fiscal policy. And I also do PR, communications, as well as policy advocacy. I also touch on that because we do focus on the increasing the welfare and well-being of visually impaired people, so I do much on that. So this is my voluntary job. I put a lot of time on that, but I do have a full-time. I am a certified coach. I'm with Strengths and Career Coaching, and as well I am an HR professional in a British-based recruitment agency. So let's go on to today's topic, touch. Yes, this is a very big topic, but it's very normal that when you think of touch, you definitely think of a person who uses his hands to feel everything every day. So here I am. I am with glaucoma since a very, very young age. And currently my vision is, for my left eye, I'm almost totally blind. And for my right eye, I only have 1% of vision, in which I can identify colors, but I'm not able to identify people's face. I don't know whether you are a lady or you're a gentleman. I don't know how tall you are, but I can see maybe what color of clothes that you are wearing if you are standing in front of me. So I'm going to share with you today's agenda, what will be going on. I will describe the agenda to 3 parallel parts. So I have highlighted 3 purposes of touching. It will be from the lives of a visually impaired person, but I will, when I say values arise from touching, it doesn't only refer to the value that a visually impaired person should hold, but rather, when I do my reflection, when I prepare all these topics, I will also ask myself, what if a person who is touching a visually impaired person, which is all of you here, what of a value should we bear in mind? So I will try to elaborate more in the coming 15 to 20 minutes. So let's do some ice breaking. And here we are going to show you a conversion table. This is a conversion table of English Braille characters. So Ivy and Judy, would you like to distribute the small paper pieces to each of our participants here? So each of you, you are going to receive a small piece of paper, and then you will feel, definitely, or you may see Braille printed on that. So they are all English Braille. So I will give you, so Ivy and Judy, please let me know if you have all distributed the ongoing, yes. After everyone has received the paper, then I will try to give you maybe 30 seconds. So try to do some decoding. There are 3 words, 3 vocabularies. Each of you are holding one of the 3. Yes, so try to decode. Let me give you 20 seconds, so just in case someone just haven't received them. You're done? Okay, so I will count 20 seconds from now. And after that, you may raise up your hand, and Ivy or Judy, they will come to you and ask you to answer it. Yeah, so I think that's the first time you ever feel Braille with your hands, right? You often see it in elevators, in the MTR, on the public transport or whatever. But that's the first time you ever touch with Braille, right? So 20 seconds has already passed very fastly. So any answers? Hello. Yeah. Yes. So one of the word is opportunity. That's right. There are 2 other words there. Yeah. Any answers? Equality. Yes. So the third one is quite obvious. If you have remember what I mentioned in the very beginning. Independence. Yes. Give a big hand to yourself. Well done. You're all very smart, I would say. I do a lot of those exercises with school children, and they do take more time than you do. Yes, yeah. So you can keep this paper, you put it somewhere, yeah. And at the end of the session, we will also give you some souvenirs regarding Braille that you can take home, actually, because this is such a small piece of paper. So we will give you a even more decent, nicely printed thing. So let's go on to the first purpose of touch. This is very obvious when I say connecting. The word connecting here means we connect with the outside world through touching. So that is quite obvious. When I give you the exercise of Braille, so definitely feeling with Braille with our hands is a obvious media for blind people to interact or understand or connect with the outside world. So my question here is, why is Braille still so important when we are having a paperless generation in 2023? Let me give you 2 examples. So when you may know that there's visually impaired people playing music. So how do they play music? Is actually they read Braille scores, music scores. So why don't they just listen with their ears and memorize all the scripts? The reason is that there are a lot of, if anyone knows classical music here, you will know that there are a lot of notation, say for example, playing louder, softer, faster, slower. All those are written on the scores. If you just listen with your ears, it's sometimes that it may not be that easy for you to remember all those minor or tiny changes of the musical piece. So it's very important that we read the Braille scores, musical scores, with our hands. And so why I would say one of the value here is authentic. And so that's the reason. Musical scores give you the whole picture of the thing, the musical piece. If we just use our ears, if we just use our memory, we didn't get the chance to know everything. But Braille is a very honest, authentic, and clearly explained method. It allows us to understand the whole piece. And why we say analytical? Let me use another example for Braille. Even in the paperless generation, we use what we call a Braille display, in which we connect the thing to the computer, and the words on the computer will be displayed on Braille, and we use our hand to feel it. That's an electronic device. So there's a friend of mine who is with PR, also a visually impaired person with PR, and she do a lot of grammar checking, a lot of proofreading, etc., copywriting with Braille. Why she just stick with Braille rather than using screen reader? In fact, I use a screen reader with the computer as well, but she doesn't quite use it because she relies on Braille. The reason is she can understand the wrong spelling or even the wrong punctuation with the Braille display. So that's why she used the analytical skills. So the value analytical here means when we connect with our outside world, we receive all those information. Of course, as an information provider, we try to be authentic. We provide all the information we have to the receiver. That's our duty or that's our mission. But as a receiver, what our duty or mission is to analyze, we digest what is there, so that makes the connection meaningful. Otherwise, we are just a USB drive. We are not a human. USB drive is for memorizing, and a human is for we will digest, we will analyze, we will process, and then finally we will output something meaningful. And that's why why I say analytical is one of the value for connection. So the second purpose, expressing. So here I put one question. What is all that mean for fashion sense? So today, I dress up in a bit formal. I don't know whether if you are for casual Friday today, then I may be more formal than you do because I'm having a business dinner tonight. Originally, I should be with my suits, but my suit is in my bag. So I just wear a tie on stage. When we say fashion sense, visually impaired people, we also concerned about how we look like. Here is a picture of a visually impaired lady making up herself. So this person, she is with same as I do. She is an HR professional in another firm. So she does a lot of makeups with her lips, with her eyes, with her face, but I don't really do because maybe in my point of view, say for example a gentleman, just the hair. We quite concerned on our hair, but with our mask we don't quite really to tidy our beards. Just joking. So when we express with our touch, why I put these two words, optimistic and holistic? So for optimistic first, it is all our decision whether we want to express the best of ourselves by presenting a good image. So even for visually impaired person, I mean for myself, I do believe that I have the ability and the right and the duty or whatever, the responsibility to have a good appearance in front of the people. So it is a form of respect, not only respecting others, but respecting myself as well. So the word optimistic here is that I have a good will. I won't think that, oh, I am blind or I'm visually impaired. I can't wear good clothes. So this is out of my own view. No one can change my thoughts, but only me, I can make the decision. So here what I say optimistic. And when I say holistic, I'm not sure if you have heard of a Chinese story, which is about blind people touching an elephant. There's a story like that in Chinese. Yeah, some of the blind people, they touch the elephant, and one touched the leg, one touched the ears, one touched the tail. They all say to the person, to the sighted person, that the elephant is like a flat piece because they touch the ear. An elephant is like a stamp because they touch the foot. So it's not wholly, it's not all-rounded. They are only focusing on one part. But what I want to emphasize is we need to be alert of the limitation of touching. And I am always telling myself about that. I will be clear, I will be alert of, I have limitation when I touch. For example, when I touch my head, I can only touch the top of my head and I need to move my hands down to touch my ears. I need to be clear about that. But when I am clear about that, I can express myself or I can do whatever, say, artistic expression or whatever in the way I should do. So this is about self-understanding and how do you understand your limitation. I always say that visually impaired people, we do have limitation, but if we understand our limitation and try to, I switched off the mic accidentally. And if we address to that limitation in an appropriate manner, say for example, this lady, she is making up herself, and that will bring us to an equally competitive field as the sighted person. So the third purpose, the last one, is about, here we have. You can see a photo. Anyone can name the technique that is demonstrated here. The guiding technique. Yeah, let me give you an answer. It's called the human guide technique. In Chinese, it's 领路法, 领路法. Yeah. So, why is so important for a sighted person to use the correct technique to guide a visually impaired person? Let me share with you some stories. I often hear this type of story every 1 or 2 days or longest every week. Simply people, when they see a visually impaired person on the street, they will, you know that visually impaired person, usually they hold a cane, a white cane, which I put aside, I didn't put it on stage. They hold a cane for navigation. So the sighted pedestrian, they would just grab the cane and pull that person, pull them in front and simply try to guide them. But it's not the right way. The correct way is like when you see in the picture, the visually impaired person is holding the arm here, of the sighted person, and the sighted person is walking in front of him or her to guide or to navigate the visually impaired person to the correct way. So why I would emphasize the importance of using a correct way of guiding the human guide technique. So here comes to the two important values. Why I say trust and respect. In fact, when we use touch to connect, to link one another, just like what has been introduced just now. One function of touch is about connection or whatever, or appreciation, whatever. So when we say trust, it's about how I, as a visually impaired person, trust the sighted person or the guide. So it's equally important that we use the same method, because if you are not using this correct method, I'm not sure whether the trust can be built. But on the other hand, if I am not going to trust you, it is something that I need to reflect on myself. Why am I not trusting someone? Are they using a wrong method? Or is that because of my own fear or my sense of inferior or whatever? So it is also something that I should reflect on if I say touching and the relationship with trust. And the last but not least, the value, we mentioned 6 values. The last value today I want to cover is respect. So what I mean here is, this is from the angle of the person who guides. So when you use the correct human guide technique, actually you are respecting the characteristic, or you are respecting the needs of visually impaired person. Because if you don't put respect as one of the top value, then you would just use the method that you think is correct or you think it's working but actually not working and not the best one. So having a respect to the person you are helping is one of the very key important element that you can provide appropriate and suitable assistance or help. And it is, when we say respect, that means you are not just having sympathy. One thing, as a self-help organization, we always say that we are not asking for sympathy. We are asking for what we say equality, independence, and opportunity. So respect is definitely one very key element that we think everyone in the society should be bear in mind. So very quickly, I have gone through a lot of values. I have gone through some examples on how visually impaired people use their touch, no matter with braille, no matter with having a appealing, appearance, or simply you as a sighted person, sighted pedestrian, uses touch to help us on the street. And no matter what, there are a lot of values that we should bear in mind. So I could do a quick recap. When we connect, we look for authentic, clear information, but we do need to analyze. And we express ourselves, we need to be optimistic of our self-image. And also we need to be holistic, just not to focus on the parts and ignore the whole picture. That's not something we are looking for. And finally, for when we say helping the people in need, as a person being helped, we need to trust one another. And as a person who provides the help, you should respect the need, even the identity, I would say, and the characteristic of the person you are helping. So these are a few values that I would raise when I say I reflect the topic in my mind about touch. So finally, we have a last quote here. This is a quote from our immediate past president of Hong Kong Blind Union, Mr. Zhong Chan Yao. So this is a famous quote from him. He always said that blindness is not losing everything. So this is also my belief. I am an HR professional. I'm a coach. We have visually impaired people in different roles or duties or positions in the society. We have our profession, we have our career, we have our family. So we are living with our touch, but touch did give us a lot more than we expected or we imagined or even the people all around the world can imagine. There's a lot of potential in touch. So here, the place here, we are Creative Morning. And I do hope that my sharing today will give you a lot of ideas for your creativity, for your innovation, for your future development, etc., etc. And last but not least, we'll have some Braille postcards. Ivy and Julie, they'll distribute to you. In fact, we have a cafe in Sai Ying Pun. Sometimes we'll put these postcards in the table on this cafe, and if you want to get one, if you walk past the cafe, maybe you can go inside and donate for us for a bit, and you can get one. So that's all for my sharing today, and I hope it will inspire you in a way and give you a more understanding on how touch is happening in the visually impaired community. Thank you. Have a great day.
Does anyone have any questions? Start off? Okay, we've got one question. Hang on just a second. I don't know how to turn on this. Yeah, it's not responding. Maybe I just don't know how to turn it on. Oh, I don't know how to turn it on.
Hello, my name is Rene. Thank you for sharing. You mentioned about the connection, and you should not be only a USB, right? And you need these special devices to make the braille. So what is your feeling or your opinion about all this artificial intelligence that it's happening and coming? What is your view in this?
So thanks, Renee. In Hong Kong Blind Union, we also have a lot of service or projects all around technology or even AI. In fact, AI did help us a lot. Say for I quote an example. In recent years or in the past, we cannot read printed books. But now, with the help of AI, we can scan the book in a scanner, and the AI will help us recognize all the printed characters, or even for some very advanced AI, they can recognize handwriting. So I would place a very positive attitude or positive viewpoint towards AI. But what I will also be cautious is that as a human being, we also need to interpret or analyze the information provided by AI. Because, say for example, I use the example of ebook again. We do a lot of proofreading because AI do make some mistake at this moment, at this stage. So there's still human effort needed to do processing or whatever. But overall, I am optimistic and positive to that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm PH, a photographer. Thank you so much for sharing, and it's very inspiring. I'm just wondering how can we help understand more and promote the well-being of the blind in Hong Kong? What's the best way to do it?
The best way to do, you have already do it today, this very morning, is that you understand our lives and views. That's very important because the very sad thing is a lot of people, they are with misunderstanding or misperception. So of course there are a lot of techniques. Say for example, if sorry, testing. Yeah. So PHDI photographer, there are some technique, of course, say for example, audio description, which allows visually impaired people to understand visual elements, or say for example, tactile art or whatever. These are techniques or hard skills that can enable visually impaired people to understand the surrounding environment. But more importantly is how willing are we to let them understand. Say, for example, just now I quote the example of guiding a person on the street. It will be good that you tell him what is on the road. That let him connect with the society. So this is a very daily thing, not a big thing, but very easy to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions? Merrick, I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
It's me, Diana. So you mentioned that you had glaucoma when you were young, right? So growing up in Hong Kong, what is the city like for someone who is visually impaired? Is it a difficult city to grow up in? Is it, visually impaired friendly? What is your own experience?
Yes, I grew up with glaucoma, but in fact, I got a better eyesight when I was small. I happened to read newspaper with my eye without any assistance when I was in primary school. So I was that naughty boy, reading newspaper at school, in class. Yeah. So responding to your question, Diana, I think Hong Kong is a place where people are generally helpful. That is very important. Honestly speaking, there are still a long way to go regarding accessibility design or universal design in Hong Kong. There are a lot of old buildings, old areas where there are no guide paths on the road, and where cars are everywhere, especially electric vehicles. They are very quiet. So it is a big challenge for us nowadays. But yeah, having said that, people are really helpful. So when I walk on the street, I feel safe in a way that I know that even I am not able to, say for example, walk past a road and someone is going to help me. But I will quote two examples for regarding assistive device or universal design that you can pay attention. The first one is about electric vehicle. Just now I mentioned that they are very low, the sound, there's no sound coming out from the vehicle because they are with electric engines. And the other thing is, just now I mentioned, when you go home today, you can try to imagine, if you close your eyes, are you be able to, say for example, find the elevator and press the elevator button? It will be a typical benchmark to understand how the accessibility level is like in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any final questions? All right, if not, let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Merrick for spending the morning with us. Thank you so much,
And
Merrick.
by the way, then we have some leaflets about Hong Kong Blind Union. We'll give it to you, give it to the participants here today, and hopefully you can connect with us in the future, and we look for other opportunities from you as well.
Terrific. And we've got the leaflets already on the table up here, so if you guys are interested, please come up and grab them. Thank you so much, and happy Friday, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming. See you next month.